Hello, Augies everywhere. What we share in common is an enthusiasm for amateur radio. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. What we're going to do today is a little bit different. I have been experimenting with hand mounting BNC connectors. In the past, I've gotten them, already attached to the cable. Well, it turns out that crimp-on BNC connectors are dirt cheap. And I've ordered a set, and I already have the crimping tool from the tool that I use to do other kinds of coax for PL259s. And I also have the coax stripper tool. Now, the coax stripper tool is a bit of a problem. I had to try with every adjustments in between to get that thing to read correctly. And as you can see from this photograph, I created quite a garbage pile. So what we're going to do today is a simple mounting of a BNC connector to a piece of RG58, which seems to be the most common coax connected with the BNC, although I'm sure there are others. Now, RG58 is not my favorite cable because the shield coverage is not 100%. It's like 97 or 98%. But a lot of QRP kits and rigs and antennas and so forth use the BNC connector. So when I saw this one that had the double strip, I grabbed hold of it. Okay, so let's get started and I'll show you what we've got here. Here are the things that we've got on the table. First of all is a piece of RG58. I've already connected BNC connector to one end. This one here is the one that doesn't have it. Here is our actual connector. This is the crimp-on for the center conductor, and this is the ferrule. Okay, now we're going to slip this over here, and we're going to slip this over here. That's really kind of important to do fairly early on. Now this thing right here, I followed all the instructions at length to do the RG58. Okay, we put this in here, turn it. Oh, now it feels like it's biting into something. And pull it. Now, what we get is the insulation is trimmed back to here. There's a little short piece with the braid wire sticking out. And then if we bend those back a little bit, like this, we're going to see that there is the white insulation between the center conductor and the outer conductor. Now we're going to do what seems like a drastic cut, but it's not. This has to be 15 millimeters from the end of the insulation to where we're going to start. Now, one thing we want to do is try hard not to bend that inner wire. Okay, I'm just going to get this braid out of the way. And we're going to put this. Now, this particular coax and these particular center conductors are supposed to fit on. This is supposed to slide on right there. But it doesn't slide on very well. The wire, the inner wire on this old coax, this very old coax, is just a little too big to go inside of that. So what we're going to do here is just sandpaper it down a little bit to take a little bit off the outer dimension of that inner wire, just using plain old sandpaper. We sandpapered the end of this, and then we put this into the ferrule like that. Okay, now on here we've got 0.43, 0.68, so it's that second one we're going to use. So the easiest way to do that is put this in that second hole. Okay, now we look at that, and it seems like it's in good shape. Now, one thing we have to make sure when we pull the braid back, we're not really trying to undo the braid, but we want to be absolutely sure that none of that braid wire is around that, because now it is time to put this on. Now we push the braid up onto the ferrule, trying to get it up here as much as we can. And then we're going to put this crimp connector on like this. And then we're going to take this, and just like that, we have the connector. Now we've got one more little thing that we can do to make it look really professional. Put a little heat shrink tubing around it. Okay, so you have to turn it on in the back. Okay, and then you get the little lights. And then we're going to do rework, which is this one. And let's see if it works. Okay, we've got it's getting warm. Probably too warm. But we'll just use this to shrink this tubing into place. How much do you want to do to tighten it? Well, you want to make sure there's no place where stuff can get inside of it, and that it actually grabs on. It says it's 510 degree air. There. Now this thing's extremely hot. So we'll turn the rework off. The fan will continue to blow until this comes down to 100 degrees Celsius. And so that's a sort of an internal heat gun on this thing, but it's a very, very hot heat gun. There. And now we have this. Going to attach one end. Okay, we're going to turn on that. And then this will go right here. Okay, and we see from the signal generator, okay, over to the oscilloscope, what we have done is made a nice little test connector for this. Now, you can use the same technique to create lengths for antenna runs and whatnot. Also, there are all sorts of cable adapters that you can put on this. For example, this one right here, if you put this onto here, now it's an SO239, you can put a PL259 in there. There's just all kinds of things that you can do. Here, for example, is one that you can tune into many of today's radios. The story here is you can buy all sorts of adapters. I've got adapters to go to PL259. There are other adapters. Here's a female one for the antenna connectors in a lot of the Chinese, because some Chinese do male, some do female. So you need a little bit of both. And that's what I've got here. I keep my radio programming cable right there, as I know that one works. Okay, so there you have it. What we have done so far is to take a piece of RG58 cable and connect onto each end a BNC connector. Now, I'm no expert, but we got it to work. So check to make sure that your tools are the right size. Look up dimensions. There are a number of videos on YouTube that explain in a lot more detail about how to do this. Just search for how to install a BNC connector on RG58. So there you have it. A little tip you can throw in your toolbox. Till we next meet, 73.